Okay, we got a couple of things that we're going to go through as far as what the world is looking like for this last week. Uh, we're going into April. April is the fourth month, which ends a quarter. So if you take a look at your business plan, take a look at where you want to be one quarter of the way through the year, you can tell if you're ahead or behind in your goal assessment. We're going to be looking at a more powerful summer. And if you're missing the boat on getting exposure, you're missing the boat on income. But while we do this work, and I'm going to give you a tip at the end here. I think I'm going to give you guys some real valuable help. Let's start with April. April Fool's Day. Yeah, I'll have a couple of things out there. But it is Fair Housing Month. Have a graphic for you if you'd like to share that. Everybody gets a fair chance at a house. Honestly, that's why we have this business is to make sure that it's fair. And as things don't become fair, we change a few things. That's why we have different contracts every year. I mean, we are an evolving group that likes to self police. And that's going to be a little bit of what we're going to see in the next coming months is our self policing is about to break down. But the one thing that is important to keep in mind is everybody gets a fair chance at a house. If you don't qualify for it, you don't qualify. But if you do have a legitimate want to buy a house, it should be an equal playing field. I'd like you to keep that in mind as you treat your clients the same. Everybody gets treated the same. And that's what I get out of Fair Housing Month is that it's fair treatment for everyone. So don't forget, everybody, go ahead and promote fair housing. It is not a bad thing. Um, we still have a lot of work to do with minorities and home ownership. They're starting to lag behind even more, and the generational growth of wealth is not being handed down at a more significant rate. And because of COVID, our life expectancy has now been reduced from 76 to 74. So we're now expected to live, and a lot of this has to do with fentanyl, um, getting uh, uh, lower childbirth rates. There's a lot of things that are, as a dynamic, collectively changing what we're going to be seeing. And you can count on my support to not only see these things coming, but how to play that market because it is going to be something of a challenge for those who don't know how to get through the day to day activities that produce a successful broker. So we're going to cover that in a minute. One of the best things that we do have working for us is that rates are coming down. Rates are about a quarter lower about a month ago. If you'd like to give Todd Probatko a call, for the different kinds of programs, I'm using him as a benchmark. Lakeside Bank holds their own paper. Um, he's very diligent about making sure that the person is re-approved, not just have their credit run. We want to make sure that their assets are verified before we go into the home selling season. And honest, if you can just get your clients to get all the way through, get themselves pre-approved, it goes so much easier on the back end. But rates are coming down. Todd, there's a email link. He picks up. I don't think I've ever gotten his voicemail, and that's the kind of lender I have in my portfolio for my clients. So on to the good news. We have a couple of legal issues that are coming up. This is not an April Fool's thing. No, it's not April yet. But we do have a couple of problems that are going rearing their ugly heads. And one of them is actually situated out of Illinois, and that's the morale suit against the NAR. There was a gentleman, and him and his friends got together and said, "Hey, this is BS that I have to pay the buyer's broker." And it went to court, and right now, uh, pull this up real quick. Uh, they got handed a ruling that said that they are moving their lawsuit into a class action lawsuit, which basically means appeal. That's the first thing you do when you do this kind of work is you appeal. Um, but it does look like about 350,000 people are going to be affected by this ruling. That's the number that really strikes me because they're going back to 2015. So if you were anywhere near a buyer's transaction from 2015 to 2022, they're looking at we damaged those sellers and they're seeking restitution. I don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know if this is something where we may want to just focus on just being listing agents for a while and keep the list short. But I do better on the buyer side. I'm a better buyer's broker than I am a listing broker in some cases because I not only go out of my way to keep things, you know, on a fair and even keel, and I'm always watching out for their rights. I have more fun. I like going into the houses and they'll give me their well, what's this? And I don't know. First time I've been in the house, let's go see. And you're able to peel the onion back on mysteries of every home. And every home has one. If I were, you've been to houses, you know that. But that ruling is probably going to cost the industry some money. I don't know if it's going to cost us individually, but because it's a class action lawsuit, it's going to be a bucket of money to anybody who sold a house between 2015 and 2022. I will keep you posted on that. That's not something that I expect quick resolve, but it did put a seed in my mind that maybe we are better off just being listing brokers. The buyer side is sucked anyways. Hard, I know that it's the interest rate and the affordability factors that are combining that's making this so hard for some, but it also puts in fear everyone else. So our job is to keep calm and cool. Nothing to see here, okay? But do support them the best you can because they're going to have questions about this stuff. Yeah, the legislation was about uncoupling buyers, agency brokers, and selling agency brokers, and making sure that each party pays their own way. That's the crux of the lawsuit is that it's not fair to the seller to pay the buyer's broker's fees. I get their point. It's the easy way to handle the business. It may not be the fair way. So I'm letting that one play out. If you have anything that you'd like to say about the subject, please direct it to your legislators and let them know how you feel. And we also got another piece of wonderful news. The Department of Justice is going to uh, they're going to file a uh, they're filing a appeal in the win that we had against Pocket Rules. We had remember we had pocket listings and clear cooperation issues that were developed. That was around the Department of Justice's lawsuit against the NAR. We won that case, but the Department of Justice is going through the appeal process on that. So that's going to be coming up probably fall before anyone hears that case. But again, this is all about being fair. I mean, if you can't be fair, you can't be fair. I mean, this whole I would rather have us regulate ourselves than to see the Department of Justice tell us what we can and cannot. Unfortunately, it looks like that's the way, and that the legal system is going to intervene and give us direction on how we can and cannot do businesses. Please keep that in mind. It is something that you're going to not want to violate because the first people who are going to get caught violating any of this, they're going to be crucified. So again, if you are aware, you are ahead of the game. I mean, I've always been a person who wanted to know the rules before I played, so I could play or know where the rules are being violated. But that's on us. We need to honestly take care of our business as if it was our baby. We have to cradle it and ensure that it stays safe. And you can count on my support that way too, because these potholes, we should be avoiding them anyways. And I think I'm going to give you a bonus. You know what? I'm going to give you two things. How about if I help you with your farm? We've all talked about our farm areas. We all know that it's a high turnover area. Probably, demographics are looking between 25 and 35. Uh, Middle income, lower middle income, high churn neighborhoods get a lot of response from farms when you farm an area. The high turnover is also a good thing. That's why we do this every month. Send out another 150, send out another 300. There are people doing 5,000 postcards a month. Now, if your budget can withstand that, great, keep it up because there are ways of helping you get more out of your farming. Let me show you a couple of things that I found. I oh, there we go. I use a business. You've heard me say it before. Corfact, Corfact.com. Julie Deal, one of our lenders out in the I think she's out of Crown Point. She's up there helping assist brokers with their marketing. And I've used them in several different ways. But the one thing that you should be aware of is that Corfact also does a lot of things around QR codes here. There's a QR code on this one. If they go to they get this in the mail. Oh, this is really cute. They get this in the mail. I can have this, actually, I can log in and have that personalized so that this is all branded towards me. Uh, but this QR code, when they go to that page, when they scan it in, you get a text and an email that says that you have a lead. So you are notified immediately that somebody got your mail and they're just checking it out. Okay, they're all cold leads at this point, anyways, but they have some interest. And if they have some interest, it's up to us to make sure that we explore and make sure that their goals are met at the final at the day. So if you can take a look at Corfact.com, their pricing isn't bad. I don't care about the pricing on the. I know marketing costs are starting to get out of reach, like everything else. But when you're getting, people who are actually scanning in and saying, "Hey, I'm raising my hand. I have some interest," versus just putting your face in front of them, pays a whole lot better. So just to let you know, yeah, maybe we should be doing some farming a little bit more going into the selling season. But we all have that fear in the back of our mind is that we're spending. Oh, I just mailed 200. I just mailed 200 postcards and I didn't get a single phone call. It's not about a single phone call until now. Now we can start seeing people, looking for home estimates, looking for a answer to their questions that they have in the back of their minds that will develop a relationship that will bring you success at a later date. That's farming. This isn't overnight work, but they did make this overnight work right there. So if you want to take a look at Corfact, or if you want to get in touch with Deal, give me a text me and I'll send you her information. She'll get you hooked up. But yeah, it's one of those things that I too um, wonder if I'm just wasting money. But you're just slowly dripping a relationship through time. It does take time. You can go ahead, door knock, and introduce yourself and speed up the process. I have a class for that if you'd like to take it. It is a door knocking class that will probably curl your hair, but it's outside your comfort zone. That's all it is. It's just outside your comfort zone. You just work on your comfort zone. So now here's a bonus for you for this week. Um, Looking back, I been trying to do better with the new people coming into the industry. Actually, I'm doing better with new licensees starting their own businesses. And you can tell by the way I just differentiated that, how that mindset really wasn't uh, shared as well as it could have been, or wasn't even spoken of at all. And that's where a lot of people fail, is that they don't know what to expect. So I went back and I was thinking, and no knocks on my broker, my first broker. I still talk to Pat. Pat was a great guy. I was able to move my business after 2 years of learning what the hell's going on around here into my exit career, and I haven't left because I've been building upon building upon building. And that was because my first broker wasn't afraid to be open minded and truthful. However, I didn't ask the right questions for him to be open minded and truthful. And that caused several things early in my career that I'd like my brokers to avoid. The first one that I learned, going back, not tracking my income and expenses as a business. I treated it like it was a checking account, or not a slush fund, but a place where incoming and outgoing and everything was all in just like my personal checking account, but in a sub account. Yeah, not technically correct. It should have been in, my business name, and it should have been set up. Eventually, it gets corrected. But not knowing that this is a business is a huge setback for anyone who's just getting their license. They don't know that there are expenses, income, and reserves that you need to put away for a rainy day, which is called when dues are due. Um, there are things that I should have been taught. So taking a look at your business as a business does help. Um, get with your CPA and ask them tons of questions whenever you're with them. Ask them another question. Is this a write-off? Can I do this? How do I, if I want to go to Florida and visit my mother, how do I write that off legally? Technically, you have to work 4 hours a day while you're down there to make it write off legally. But talk to your CPA. You guys gotta do you. But yeah, as long as you're working 4 hours a day while you're away, it's a write off. Um, Create a strong network of people who are already successful. What that means is that we all have a circle of influence. Not everybody in our circle of influence makes the same kind of money we do, but most of them do. Some of them don't. Some of them are at a higher level or even a lower level. which still needs to be served. But being with like minded people creates fortunes and wealth through association and partnerships. What I'm saying is, if you're not hanging with the $500,000 earners, you're not exposing yourself to the opportunities that come with that. You may want to invest into going into some of these city galas, which is where you'll see all the developers and all the people who are connected with this. But honest, you go to one of those city galas, you will meet people who have connections who also need your assistance. But it's putting yourself into a higher bracket, which could be uncomfortable. It is not uncomfortable. They're all real people and they still keep their pants on one leg at a time, except their pants are $1,000 each. Mine are blue jeans, whatever. Gets me through the night. Uh, but you do want to assimilate yourself with other people who are trailblazing and showing the way on how you too can become wealthy in their own ways. For work schedule. When I first started, I had a really good work schedule. And when I moved over to Exit Realty, I didn't really have any. I want to say the structure wasn't self-imposed. I do have a structure. As soon as I joined, I knew what I had to do. Make my phone calls, put the signs in, paperwork, going back to the client's house for this initial. Yeah, that used to be a thing. We'd have to go back to the client's house for the signature and initial. It's not the electronic world that you may know today. Um, but if you're not working a planned, detailed schedule every day, and part timers, I mean, it doesn't have to be a long list, it just has to be a list so that you cover every section of every place that you need to be. One day it's Instagram, one day it's Facebook. You can break it down so that you can spread out your work so that you are being seen and being recognized as somebody who's in the field and doing things for their community. That's what people want to see. Not being financially aware. What that means to me is that I did not pre-plan my dues, any sort of fees that came up. It was easy to do the car registration because every time you walk past the car, you know when it's going to be due, so you know to pre-plan paying that budget before it even comes due. I never wrote down, when my board dues were due. You'd get a 60-day notice. It's like, okay, next closing, I'll pay it. Don't chase the dog. Don't be the tail. You need to take control of when things are due and prepare those fees into a reserve account. So when they do become due, it's a simple stroke of the pen or a click of the mouse that gets it paid versus scrambling and being behind the eight ball. So every check you get, $20, $50, $100, whatever it takes to build that bucket of money, do it. But do it with every paycheck, and that's proper budgeting. So you're putting away for a rainy day. That's a reserve account. That's a simple savings account. I know they're not simple anymore. Um, you may want to. I know people who are getting 3.5% interest on their cash by converting it into a stable coin and then staking the stable coin for higher interest. Okay, money's not going anywhere. It's growing me a little bit more money than my bank is 0.1% interest. Do you think my bank is seeing any of my extra money? My reserve accounts, my travel expense account that I created, everything that I have built in my business was because it doesn't make sense to chase it. It makes sense to be prepared for it. And I think that was one thing I should have known going into this is, I should have been aware. So that's why I started this list. Um, Next, I have in my mind here is you have more streams of income than a job. And I remember working at the bank. Um, it was they got pissed off that I was doing DJ work on the side. I was going back to school. I was working at CKG. They were a little bit disturbed that I'm going into radio. It's taken away from my work. Your work is your work. You don't need extra income outside. You know, but yet these guys were doing side jobs, carpet jobs, whatever. Um, there was a day when it wasn't cool to have multiple streams of income. Nowadays, when you ask any multimillionaire how many streams of income they have, the average is seven. So keep your mind open to the other streams of income that you have available, not just commercial, not just agricultural, not just open land, uh, but recruiting or becoming an affiliate. I know a lot of people like to do the Redfin thing. I still don't understand that one. But if you think that that's something that will supplement your income, absolutely do it. But do it with 100% conviction, or it's just not going to work. Your risk tolerance, not being able to perform daily tasks that lead to income, that's a lot to do with, are we staying with our daily schedule? Do we have our list of things that we're going to do in front of us, and are we checking them off every day? It is something that makes a business successful. So do that. And part timers, if you're doing less than 2 hours a day, you're probably getting frustrated. It's probably not working for you, and it's not something that's easy to fix unless you sit down and find out why you can't do 2 hours a day. It might be a timing adjustment. It might be a lack of want, which we can always discuss because this is a highly burnout environment. I mean, our business, we're in the no business. We're already behind the eight ball as far as positivity is concerned. We're looking for the islands of yes in the sea of no's. I better write that down. But that it can be lingering. It could drive you down. It could get you distracted and then off your list. But if you're doing your list, you got postcards on the first, postcards on the fifth. You're doing your even Corfax. You can pre-schedule this stuff, and it just takes it right out of your checking account. I mean, you can't make it any easier. It's just uh, uh, the the diligence to do it when you're supposed to do it, and the funding behind it to make sure it goes through. So the two pieces go together. That's why we have a reserve account. Everybody should be putting away, even if it's just your normal paycheck. You should be putting 20, 50, 100 away so you can build your business. That's how Best Buy does it. Best Buy, everybody knows Best Buy, but they still need people to know that they have product, need it, and that's what we do too. So if you have any questions about how to build your business, we all have private 1 hour time one on one with each other. We can talk about it then. You can pick up the telephone or you can just, send me an email. But there are training classes. There are some things that are, like Jedi mind tricks to get you back on track. But there are some ways for you to succeed in this summer's I honestly think we're going to have 4 hours, 4 months of 2021, where everybody was going to be in and out, and it's going to be a fast market when it finally opens up. Are you ready for the work? Because we're going to see it very slow this year. Let's stack up on the work and do everything we can to close them all. If you can't do a piece of business, we have the referral industry within Exit where we can refer it out and still get paid. So leads are money. I hope you generate a ton of leads this month. And if there's anything I can do to help you that way, just let me know. And I appreciate you coming by this today. We'll have more next week. And may your April Fools be as funny as you think they are. Because I just love April Fools days. You guys enjoy it, and I will talk to you again. Bye.